He was dressed all in white, but he wasn't going to a party. Instead, his picture went viral on social media for the worst possible reason: murder in cold blood. There he was, slumped over a bench in a corridor of the Wynberg Magistrates Court in Cape Town, blood still dripping from his head, where it appeared he had been shot. The victim was reportedly a state witness and was declared dead at the scene, with officers seemingly unable to protect him. Dingalomoya Qinzo was not the first to die in this way. In 2023, Sikelubuhle Moyo Dube was shot outside the Randburg Magistrates Court, and in January this year, Ashwin Mowat was shot and killed at the Lenasia Magistrates Court. So, would you be a state witness? We are now joined on the line by Willem Els, who's a senior training coordinator at the Institute for Security Studies. He's also a crime expert. Willem, a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning to you.
Based on what we know, this witness was, in fact, a state witness in a different case, but it now appears he was a murder accused in another.
Yeah, unfortunately so. But you see, that just demonstrated to you the challenges that we have with our violent society in South Africa. You mentioned in your intro quite a few cases. You know, there are many more. Another case where we had the similar outcome was in the Nigerian preacher that was actually found guilty controversially a week or so ago.
Not guilty, I think you mean. The Omotoso case.
Yeah, not guilty.
The Omotoso case, yes.
That's it. So there was also a state witness that was assassinated. Now, but you must understand, you know, in South Africa, it's not due to a lack of legislation that this happens. I mean, we've got three different acts. Even the Constitution made provision for that, the protection of these people. And we must ask ourselves the question, where do we fail in?
I mean, it was reported, as I understand it, that the metal detectors at that court were out of order, and that's essentially how the gun entered the premises.
Yeah, that's very plausible. You know, before you can enter the court, not only for the protection of your witnesses, but also for the judiciary and the bench and everyone else, it's a gun-free area apart from your police officers and law enforcement that enter there, and everybody must be screened. That is a common procedure, and if there's a lapse in that, I think there should be consequences.
The main suspect is appearing in court today. She allegedly smuggled the weapon to the gunman who then fired the shots. He reportedly fled down 3 flights of stairs through a security turnstile into the getaway car and was not apprehended despite a heavy police presence. How does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, you know. It just demonstrates to us on some levels of competency within our law enforcement that is not what it's supposed to be. The urgency of our officers is not what it's supposed to be, especially in these institutions where we see, because of the rising trend in this witness protection challenges that we have, that it seems that there's a real lapse in oversight, there's a real lapse in guidance and also leadership within these fraternities.
Do you suspect corruption might be involved?
Well, we cannot rule that out. So we saw that in many cases where these things happen in court, you know, with the smuggling of drugs, with all other illicit goods through the policemen to these convicts or the accused, it's not you cannot rule it out.
SIU head Andy Mutibi told Parliament earlier that one of the most serious risks facing his organization are the threats to the lives of SIU employees, but also whistleblowers and witnesses. As you say, this is happening a lot more frequently than perhaps many of us realize.
Yeah. I think another case also is the Frans Matipa case, where the investigating officer was assassinated on the N1. So that is, you know, it's something that is a real threat to our people, and I think it's time for South Africa to wake up to this, as you mentioned, that we have to take this more seriously, and we have to look after our people.
Willem, would you be a state witness?
You know, I've been a policeman for 28 years, so I've been in the bench quite a few times in sensitive cases as well. But you see the problem that you have, and that's what people don't understand with the system. We have got quite a good program on witness protection that is run by the NPA. But in many cases, or in most cases, it's extremely intrusive on the witness itself. And we saw in the past, as far back as the Pagat cases, where two of the state witnesses were assassinated, as I couldn't recall, they voluntarily leave the program because it's just so intrusive on their lives, and they want to continue with their life. And then these people just wait for them, and then the moment they come out, then they assassinate them. So those are the two flips of the coin, or two sides.
Worrying picture indeed. Willem Els, appreciate your time. Crime expert, a senior training coordinator at the Institute for Security Studies.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.